All Hallows Eve, the evening your nightmares come to life, all the creatures of the night come out to play. It's time to pay tribute to this terrifying month, so join us as we celebrate the sinister season. This is the Venom Month of Horrors.
Hello and welcome to the Venom Month of Horrors. 31 days of pure terror in video form, and today we're looking at one of the most historic entries into the entire genre and one of the most iconic characters in movie history. Silence of the Lambs.
I don't know how to feel about this.
Silence of the Lambs, based off of the 1988 Thomas Harris novel of the same name, tells the story of Clarice Starling, played by Jodie Foster, who is training to join the FBI. However, she is soon put to the ultimate test when she is assigned to interview iconic serial killer, cannibal, and former psychiatrist Hannibal Lecter, played by Anthony Hopkins. There's also another killer on the loose known as Buffalo Bill, played by Ted Levine, who has kidnapped a new victim, and it's her job along with her colleagues to try to get inside the brain of Lecter and find the whereabouts of Bill in time. Amidst this, Hannibal manages to escape while Clarice successfully takes down his buddy and saves the girl, earning her position on the team before receiving a goodbye phone call from Mr. Lecter himself, who walks away completely scot-free.
Do you know something about him?
Although based on the novel, this was actually the second movie to feature Hannibal Lecter's iconic character, Manhunter beating it to the punch in 1986. Before the book was even finished, Orion Pictures teamed up with supervillain himself Gene Hackman to adapt the story, with Gene possibly even directing and starring in the lead. It was all down to Dino De Laurentiis, who owned the rights to Manhunter, but that film was such a bomb he literally gave them the rights completely free of charge. Nice to know he put up a fight for it.
Why the urgency?
Weirdly, Jodie Foster, who would later go on to star in the movie, actually tried to purchase the rights herself as she loved the novel so much before discovering Hackman had already beaten her to it. It was November of 1987 when Ted Talley was brought in to write the screenplay after he had received an advance copy of the novel. Literally midway through the first draft of the script, Gene Hackman completely pulled out of the production and the funding collapsed on itself. Hackman had attended the Oscars and saw a clip of himself in Mississippi Burning, and he suddenly got cold feet about being connected to more violent roles.
Why not?
Despite this, Talley was convinced to continue writing, hoping the studio would handle the financing and find a new director, which is when Jonathan Demme took up the role. The script wasn't even completed yet, but he loved the book so much he quickly accepted. The script was finished in May of 1989 and shooting began as early as November. Jodie Foster was immediately interested in playing Clarice, but Demme didn't think she was right for the part after she had just won an Oscar for The Accused. He instead wanted Michelle Pfeiffer, who turned it down, admitting that she was nervous about the subject matter. Meg Ryan was then asked, but she also rejected due to the violence of the film, and Nicole Kidman was another consideration before Foster was finally given the role. Bit harsh. I couldn't get any of the stars I really wanted, so I'm basically stuck with you now.
All good things to those who wait.
For the part of iconic Dr. Hannibal Lecter, Sean Connery was first approached, who turned it down, and Derek Jacobi, Daniel Day-Lewis, John Hurt, Christopher Lloyd, Dustin Hoffman, Patrick Stewart... Oh no, he's far too busy taking up real roles. Like playing Pooh.
Sounds charming.
Louis Gossett Jr., Robert Duvall, Jack Nicholson and Robert De Niro were all considered. Jeremy Irons was approached, but he had just starred in Reversal of Fortune and didn't want to take on another dark part before Anthony Hopkins was offered it after his performance in The Elephant Man. Hopkins was actually very confused about this, however, and said to director Jonathan Demme, but Dr. Trevs was a good man. He replied, "So is Lecter, he's a good man too, just trapped in an insane mind." Quite humorously, when Hopkins' agent told him that he was considered for a film called Silence of the Lambs, he was convinced that he was up for a children's picture. Not even close.
No, that is incidental.
Filming began on November the 15th, 1989 and ended on March the 1st, 1990 in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Howard Shore produced a tremendous musical score and The Silence of the Lambs was released on February the 14th, 1991.
Because nothing screams Valentine's Day love and romance like cannibalism and murder.
Point taken.
In its initial run, the movie grossed a worldwide total of $273 million.
Bet De Laurentiis regrets giving it away for free now.
Yes, actually.
And it actually didn't gain as much critical acclaim as you'd think at first. It was quite a slow process. Mostly Hopkins and Foster were praised for their performances. Roger Ebert adored the terrifying characteristics of Hannibal, adding it to his great movies list and even calling it a horror masterpiece, but his buddy Gene Siskel did not actually agree.
Silence of the Lambs, a depressingly brutal thriller that I found completely lacking in redemptive quality, so I sat there thinking, why are all these talented people involved in this project? I didn't learn a thing about serial killers from this movie. The Silence of the Lambs is a star-studded freak show directed by the usually enormously talented Jonathan Demme, who I think for the first time in his career has picked a surprisingly trashy project. The Anthony Hopkins character is presented as this big evil thing, and we're going down there to see them, a journey into hell and all that. And frankly, he was so pumped up, and the music was so pumped up at such a high level that I worked for me. It worked. Well, then you're easy, because for me, I thought, oh, come on. A guy who's truly frightening doesn't need, a huge organ playing in the background. I didn't buy it at all.
This is the movies. What did you want? A documentary, black and white, television?
Wasn't compelled by anybody except, I suppose, the Jodie Foster character as a strong woman.
Come on.
A murderer who eats people's faces just isn't interesting enough for you, Gene?
No, tell me why.
The movie picked up 5 Academy Awards for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for Hopkins, Best Actress for Foster, and Best Adapted Screenplay, becoming only the 3rd film in history to pick up the Big 5, only behind It Happened One Night and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. In fact, to this day, it's only one of 3 sequels to win Best Picture, along with The Godfather Part 2,
which is still playing, by the way,
and Return of the King.
And yes, this is technically a sequel, so you're damn right it counts.
No.
And Hopkins almost broke a record for the shortest on-screen performance to ever win Best Actor, clocking in at only 24 minutes and 52 seconds. The current holder is David Niven, who only had 23 minutes and 39 seconds of screen time and won Best Actor for Separate Tables. The AFI selected it as the 65th greatest film in the past 100 years. Bravo selected this sequence as the 7th scariest movie moment ever, with Hannibal Lecter as the #1 greatest villain in history and Clarice as the 6th greatest hero, which by the way is the highest ranked female character on the entire list, and the famous line,
A census taker once tried to test me. I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
was picked as the 21st greatest quote. Entertainment Weekly picked it as the 4th scariest movie in history, and ABC ran a poll in 2011 where Silence of the Lambs was voted as the #1 greatest thriller and Lecter as the 4th greatest movie character of all time. But it also did receive some controversy. The character of Buffalo Bill was portrayed as transsexual, and of course you can't do anything without people being offended even back then. People lambasted the film for homophobia, to which the director even responded. Buffalo Bill wasn't a gay character. He was a tormented man who hated himself and wished he was a woman because that would have made him as far away from himself as he possibly could be. I've come to realise that there is a tremendous absence of positive gay characters in movies. Well, that's not true. You got Sam and Frodo. There was even an article in Playboy from a feminist.
A feminist. In Playboy. Oh, the irony.
I thought it was absolutely outrageous that The Silence of the Lambs won 4 Oscars.
Actually it won 5.
I'm not saying that the movie shouldn't have been shown. I'm not denying the movie was an artistic triumph, but it was about the evisceration, the skinning alive of women. That is what I find offensive, not the Playboy centerfold.
But yet if he skinned men, only men, I bet you'd have no problem with that. Maybe he skinned women because it was a horror movie and gender just didn't enter the screenwriter's mind. Maybe you're just uptight. Not everything has to be ruled down to sex. Maybe you need to lighten up and get some cock.
I'm afraid I can't tell you any more about that.
Fellow director John Carpenter, however, was also really disappointed with the movie, hating that it focused more on Clarice's character, stating he wished he could have adapted the story as he would have made it much more frightening and gripping. The FBI themselves actually reacted positively to the film, praising its realism and how they deal with serial killer cases, only stating that her interviewing Hannibal by herself would never happen and her discovering Buffalo Bill's home also alone is unrealistic, but other than that it is spot on, and it also helped them in hiring many more female officers.
Thank you very much.
Personally, I find this movie spectacular. Jodie Foster gives, in my mind, quite an underrated performance. You get so much sympathy for her, how can you not feel bad when people are throwing jizz in her face? But I can't help but feel her performance is often ignored because of how good Hopkins was. Jodie does a great job and she really added something to this character. Originally the film was going to open with her and her fellow officers bursting into a room to bust some people before it's revealed that it's just a training exercise, but she convinced the director to scrap it as it had been done so many times before.
That is rather slippery of you, Agent Starling.
She knew what worked with this film, and her character is also a very strong, independent and iconic female character that I think is often forgotten. But throughout the entire film she speaks in a really bad southern accent. Seriously, it took a while to get used to and I was never convinced by it.
I'm sure this is a great town, Dr. Chilton, but my instructions are to talk to Dr. Lecter and report back this afternoon.
Why did she have to be southern? Why couldn't she just use a normal accent?
Anyway, there's a scene where Hannibal makes fun of the accent, and guess what? This wasn't in the script. Hopkins came up with this on the spot and Jodie's reaction is completely genuine.
Good nutrition's giving you some length of bone, but you're not more than one generation from poor white trash, are you, Agent Starling? And that accent you've tried so desperately to shed, pure West Virginia. What does your father do? Is he a coal miner? Does he stink of the land? You know how quickly the boys found you, all those tedious, sticky fumblings in the backseats of cars, while you could only dream of getting out, getting anywhere.
She was legitimately hurt by these remarks and she felt like this was a personal attack towards her acting, but she later thanked her co-star for bringing out such a real reaction to the screen. Hopkins is absolutely bone-chilling in this. We've seen serial killer roles before, but this is like the serial killer role. Very often he'll just look down the camera and you feel his eerie stare pierce through you. He talks slowly and softly and it's terrifying. For a man who doesn't have much screen time, he steals every single frame he's in and he makes this movie his. In fact, he was so good, Jodie Foster actually avoided him in between scenes because she was genuinely terrified of the guy. His character is so intelligent and so cleverly written. They utilize the fact that he's a psychiatrist so well. He analyzes people's behavioral patterns and is always one step ahead of them.
I know they will never ever let me out while I'm alive. What I want is a view. I want a window where I can see a tree, or even water. I want to be in a federal institution far away from Dr. Chilton.
Tell me, Senator, did you nurse Catherine yourself?
What?
Did you breastfeed her?
Now, wait a minute.
Yes, I did.
Toughened your nipples, didn't it?
Oh, son of a bitch.
Amputate a man's leg and he can still feel it tickling. Tell me, Mom, when your little girl is on the slab, where will it tickle you?
How he even swaps clothes with a cop and poses as a dying corpse to escape at one point. Halloween would try to steal this later, but it made no sense then. To today's standards, this was predictable, but back then it was quite new and inventive. Whenever he leaves clues to where Buffalo Bill is, it's always cryptic and in the form of anagrams. It's like trying to break down the Riddler, but the performance is so good. Honestly, I can't praise this enough as one of the best performances in horror history. He also has a great knack for turning dramatically to the camera.
Yes, and now, Clarice. After your father's murder, you were orphaned. What happened next?
Hey dude, I'm just heading to the shop. Did you want anything? I've got a serious chocolate craving.
Well, that's a very interesting question. Sometimes I like Skittles, sometimes a Mars bar. He's so cold, ruthless, heartless, intelligent, but also really unpredictable, and you can never guess what he's going to do from one scene to the next.
Oh, and Senator, just one more thing. Love your suit.
That line of dialogue is actually genius.
He's making himself a woman's suit, Mr. Crawford, out of real women.
Seriously, this character is amazing. Every line of dialogue connects to something. I mean, he breaks free and batters these cops before relaxing to some soothing classical music. This guy is amazing. The whole film is unpredictable. At one point the cops are on their way to Bill's location while Clarice is heading to one of Lecter's former patients, but plot twist, they end up in an empty house while Clarice ends up in Bill's place. Again, nowadays it would be predictable, but this kind of invented things like this. I also feel like Buffalo Bill was another forgotten gem. He's creepy as hell too.
Mister, my family will pay cash. Whatever ransom you're asking for, they'll pay it.
It rubs the lotion on its skin or else it gets the hose again.
It puts the lotion on the skin, or else it gets the hose again. She puts the lotion in the bucket.
The last act is so chilling and intense when Clarice is searching around for Bill. There's a part where he's behind her using night vision and doesn't kill her for some reason.
Seriously, why doesn't he just kill her?
I don't know.
And he reaches out but doesn't actually touch her, and you're screaming at your TV for her to shoot or get the hell out of there. It's a story of suspense told flawlessly. The direction is great for the most part, with great shots like this using Hannibal's reflection. It's really memorable stuff that adds to the thrilling atmosphere.
But what flaws can I think of for this masterpiece? I mean, I guess I can try to nitpick.
Nobody's gonna forget that.
So here, Hopkins gives the bedroom eyes to the cop's pen, and it's later revealed that he has it because he writes evidence down for Clarice, so we're to assume it's this scene where he steals it. But how the hell did he get it? There's being smart, and then there's being goddamn Houdini. He's in a restricted straitjacket. Sorry, but there's no way he could have got this pen. What else? No, this seems perfect. This is awesome. What's up with this extra? Everyone else walks past normally and casually, and this guy just stares at Jodie Foster.
Is he trying to get some more screen time or something? Weirdo.
He said, I can smell your cunt.
Okay, him beating up the cops is great, but before that he bites their nose, and sorry, but it just looks a bit silly.
Could be worse. My nose could be gushing blood.
And again, how'd he get this to escape? Right, now, why the hell are they talking to the camera here? The direction is great for 99% of the film, but here it's just weird. When Hopkins does it, it works as it's eerie and chilling and scary. It builds the tension, but this is just two friends having a chat.
Oh, hello. Hey, what's up? Yes, it's been a while. Did you want to go catch a movie or something? Yes, but what?
I thought we could begin with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I approve of that movie. But what about The Godfather?
That is a good alternative, but quite frankly, I'm a big fan of Good Will Hunting.
I would highly recommend The Faculty.
I'm not too keen on that movie myself, but I do like The Shawshank Redemption.
Maybe we should try out The Frighteners.
You know what? Let's just sort this out and watch Sister Act.
Possibly Gremlins?
I agree, but we could also try Recess School's Out,
See Spot Run,
Rat Race,
Alien vs Predator,
The Wizard of Oz,
The Dark Knight Stumbles,
Snow Day,
King Kong.
This is a very difficult decision. Let's go to KFC and see what we can think up.
Affirmative.
He's a tailor or a dressmaker. That's why they're all so big. He has to keep them alive so he can starve them a while so that he can loosen their skin and take...
Would 3 days actually be enough time for them to lose weight just by having no food?
No, this is awesome, epic, great, sick. When she finally shoots Buffalo Bill, the lights come back on by themselves immediately.
His electricity was connected to his heartbeat.
And how did Hannibal know the exact phone number to call her on at the exact location and time?
Oh well, who cares? This pun is amazing.
I do wish we could chat longer, but I'm having an old friend for dinner.
The movie is chilling, eerie, scary, well acted, well directed, and honestly a must-see for any horror or thriller fans out there. In 2001 a sequel followed, a year later a prequel, with another following in 2007 before the popular TV series in 2013 followed, all growing the popularity of this legendary and horrific character. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video and want to see more, I'm reviewing every film in the 1001 Movies You Must See Before You Die 2016 edition book, so make sure you subscribe to keep up to date with them and also turn on notifications to be alerted for each episode. You can vote for which film to be reviewed next at the link in the description. What do you think of The Silence of the Lambs? Let me know about it in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.
Buffalo Bill, Buffalo Bill. Oh yeah, Eminem lyrics that I don't remember. Hannibal, Lecter, I don't give a shit because the animal's better.